You know what's important? Reading. Sure, these video games are fun and expansive, but boy does a good book expand your creativity, word bank, and general understanding of language. But you know what could be better? A book within a video game. Make me read now before bed, Marilyn. That's my missus, by the way. Just kidding, babe. Reading is good for you guys. Back to that books within video games thing though, specifically Breath of the Wild. In one of the Hateno village homes lives a sweet little family, and in this home, under certain conditions, at a certain time of day, we can find Karen. No, not that kind of Karen. This kind of Karen, the child of the family, who can be found reading their book, and we can see a very interesting image in this book. We can see what appears to be some sort of adaptation of none other than Link himself, blue tunic and all, but with a crown? What on earth is this book? A story on the former hero? A telling of Link 100 years ago? Or just a completely coincidental look-alike? Well, today, that's what we're looking at. But firstly, be sure to go and grab yourself a snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here. And also join the Discord server if you haven't already. And you know what? Whilst we're at it, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as we are so close to 100,000 subscribers. Much appreciated, folks. Now, let's open the pages of this mystery and investigate Link's untold story in Breath of the Wild. Okay, first and foremost, where and how can you find this book? Well, it's not as simple as just walking into this home and simply finding the book. Oh no. Rather, it needs to be raining and during the morning/daytime. Now, I know that sounds like some sort of mid-2000s type of video game myth, and I know we have some trust issues after that Zonai video, but it's actually true, and allow me to explain why. During the daytime, the children of Hateno village can be seen playing around in the central area and also checking out the mysterious tech lab atop the village. But when it rains, they all head home, which in itself is something really cool about this game's NPCs and how real they are compared to past ones. They react in various ways depending on the time of day, weather, and actions or events going on around them. And when it rains and Karen goes home to take shelter, not only do they, well, go home, but they start reading this book, and you can even see that it only spawns in on rainy days, which is honestly so freaking cool. Seriously, try it for yourself. Now, I do need to mention that this wasn't originally discovered by me. Rather, one of you guys. They asked to remain anonymous, but I did get their permission to share the message. I'll let you guys pause and read it if you wish, but this inspired the basis of the video, going over their theory with my thoughts added on. I should also mention that whilst doing the research for this video, I found that an older Zelda channel, which is no longer in action, McIntyre, also covered the book years ago, but he went over a different idea. I felt it was necessary to mention this, as it will be briefly mentioned again later, and there's also a great video worth checking out. I've linked it below if you wish to check it out. Aside from showing us the sheer depth to Breath of the Wild's NPCs, this does reveal to us this super mysterious image. It depicts a hero on horseback, wearing a blue top, holding a sword in the air, and, most interestingly, also wearing a crown. Right off the bat, considering we know what the King of Hyrule looks like, a more bulky and big character, this isn't likely the king, rather, a prince. At least stereotypically looking. Okay, obviously this is implied to be Link, but how? And who even wrote this? Well, that is where one of your guys' theories comes into play. Their theory suggests that someone from Hateno village wrote this book, in a wish to keep Link's memory alive. Makes sense. Further suggesting it was someone on the lines of Fort Hateno who possibly saw Link in battle, but was unaware the hero got taken to the Shrine of Resurrection. Assuming the worst, they wrote this book to keep his memory alive. However, the second part of the theory I don't personally agree with, but it reads, as he is actually from a branch family of the royal family, with him being the first male born to the Gerudo version royal family. However, now that a Gerudo born every 100 years wasn't known in Hyrule outside of the Gerudo and royal family, it would better explain why Link's champion attire holds the same style as Ocarina of Time Ganondorf armbands, but that might be my imagination going fat. Personally, I don't believe him to be a Gerudo, but as you said, that might just be your imagination going fat, which is totally understandable. I do the same. However, in the first half, I am fully on board.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
The idea that this book was written and illustrated by someone from Hateno village that also fought on the defensive line of Fort Hateno is one that I like. We know by now that Link is from Hateno village, or at least at one stage of his life, lived here. We know that 100 years ago, Link fell in battle in Blatchery Plain, just beside Fort Haytenno. The brave knights of Hyrule defending this wall were likely ones from Haytenno village, as it is the wall defending the way to their home. Perhaps one of the brave soldiers on this line saw from afar the hero bravely defending the princess against a number of guardians, all the way up to the point of breaking and falling in battle. Not knowing that Link was taken to the Shrine of Resurrection, or even the existence of such a contraption, Link was presumed dead. But because of how heroic he appeared to everyone, being out in a field of guardians trying to escort the Princess of Hyrule to safety, whoever saw this knew Link was a true hero, and just knew his legacy had to be known. In honour of the hero, sometime following the Calamity, which we do know ended soon after this scene, as following this, Princess Zelda goes to confront Calamity Ganon and put a temporary stop to its rampage. Following this, Hyrule would have slowly gone back to normality, presumably after fending off remaining clusters of monsters and other threats. Once the dust had settled and life went back to some form of normality, the person who saw these events fought back to the brave effort they saw from Link and got to work on creating some form of memory for him, as to everyone else's knowledge, the hero died that day. This is even evident in the present day 100 years later, as pretty much everyone who isn't a person of royalty or high importance says stuff like he looks like the hero from 100 years ago, but not saying that he is, as to their knowledge, the hero died 100 years ago, and Link is just someone who looks like him. So this person wrote the book, right? And likely passed it down to their child or somebody young in their family to read, as this would get the story into the younger generation's mind to make sure Link's memory doesn't die out. But why did they make Link a prince? Well, this is clearly supposed to be a children's book, and the events of the Calamity were absolutely brutal. Innocent people were trampled over by guardians, not something you'd want in a children's book. So to make it more friendly, perhaps they focused more on the bravery and effort of Link to protect the princess. And you know what's the most cliche, stereotypical theme when it comes to dudes with swords? The hero saves the princess. They live happily ever after, and he becomes a prince, usually with a kiss.
Are you gonna talk or smooch?
Puck her up, princess!
Personally, I'd ship Link with, I don't know, Sidon, but that's besides the point. This would make so much sense when you put it into context. It was clearly made with the intentions of a child reading it and learning the story of the hero, just minus the literal massacre of the Calamity. Giving it a happy ending, Link succeeding in saving the princess, but fitting the stereotypical theme of a book like this, Link was made out to be a prince. The prince to save the princess. God, just let him live Sidon, please. Jokes aside, there are a few other details I'd like to mention. In that previously mentioned video by McIntyre, they actually translated some of the text from this book, as you can see on screen. But what's interesting to me is the line, "Something strange happened." My guess is that this is referring to Princess Zelda unlocking her powers and wiping the Guardians clean. Or perhaps it is referring to the sudden stop of the Calamity, but I believe the former, given that this book likely paints a happy ending. As to who actually wrote the book, my guess is that it is presumably the late grandfather or mother of Karen, but ultimately, we cannot say for sure. To conclude, I think that this book is obviously open to your own interpretation, and that this is just my view, going by the suggestion via Twitter. I think that this is sort of a retelling of the events the hero followed 100 years ago, but with a happy ending to suit the children reading. I also love how much it shows off the depth to the NPCs, as the book can only be found during times Karen is awake and on a rainy day. The untold tale of Link in Breath of the Wild is without a doubt one of the most interesting mysteries in this massive game full of little secrets. Thanks a ton for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more Zelda content. What are your thoughts regarding this book? Could it be what my theory suggests, or is it something different entirely? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. I look forward to reading and replying. As always, a huge special thank you goes out to all of my supporters across Patreon and YouTube. With special thanks to Crochet Gamer Mum for joining. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to join them and get yourself some behind the scenes looks at my work, a shout out upon joining, your name at the end of every video, and more, then consider supporting. Again, thanks for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.